Alright guys, so I have 2 days to paint this horse. It's a challenge, let me explain. Alright, so that intro was not clickbait. I really only do have 2 days to get this horse painted and ready to give to Toys for Tots. Now this is a collaboration with the Veterans Arts Center of Tampa, Florida, a local organization that I've worked with for 2 years now that they provide art therapy to veterans, first responders, and active duty members. Their whole motto is therapy through art, creating rehabilitation, helping others, allowing for creativity and healing to happen through artistic expression. They are a great organization, they're local to Tampa. I've had the pleasure of getting to know their leader, Major Mac, for several years now. He's a great guy, super passionate, he is a veteran, and for the holiday season they were actually giving out these wooden horses to Toys for Tots. They wanted to make it a little personal and decided to paint all the ones they had. They did 4 and they offered the 5th one to me to paint, and I said I would be honored to. Took it home and now we're going to be painting it. So we got to figure out what we want to do. And my initial thought was to do something really kind of fun, like make it look like Zorro's horse Tornado or even the Phantom's horse Hero, maybe even paint it metallic and it could be silver from the Lone Ranger. Well, after thinking about it, I thought it would be best just to make a fun little cartoony horse. And that also means that I'm going to have to bust out the acrylics, which, you know me, not a huge fan of them. But since this is for kids, I want to make sure it's extra special. Let's not waste any more time and get into the super time lapse. Painting this piece was super fun, though I really do wish I had more time. My first instinct was to actually assemble the entire piece and then paint each individual part, but unfortunately I didn't have enough time. So I decided to work with the piece as is and just work around the different angles as needed. And don't get me wrong, I did do that, but I definitely wish I had a few more days to fully disassemble, properly prime it, spray paint, assemble, then add the detail, but I understand the time frame that I'm with and had to approach the project as such. Another challenge is that I'm painting this with acrylics. Now, for those of you who don't know, acrylics are not my jam. It's definitely a medium that I'm getting more comfortable with, and I've pushed myself further with it, but it's still one that I do struggle with at times. So I don't have a lot of colors, and the colors I do have are very specific for, well, specific projects that I need acrylics for. So I had to do a lot of color mixing just to get the right shades. Now, for those of you who have never painted on raw wood that is unprimed, it's definitely a challenge. The wood absorbs so much of the paint, and even going in with a layer of water and then the wood on top still required me to layer immensely. I also had a lot of streaking that I thought I could make look like fur, but really struggled with that. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go in with a few different layers of brown just to get the colors down, just so I could build up some layers so that I could then add the final paint on top. I also realized this worked well to create essentially not a future proof, but if the piece gets scratched, you don't have the raw wood, you instead have another layer of brown that a kid can easily pretend is just more fur or a cool scarf. Either way, it was working and building up the processes. I went in with a few different colors, I went in with a few different mixtures. Now, I don't have any Van Dyke brown paint or anything outside of burnt sienna and raw umber, so I did a lot of mixing with yellows and reds to create warm browns so that I can go in and just layer. It was probably like 30 layers of black paint I put on this piece, just because every time I thought I covered it all, I always found a little streak that I missed. And while I only have 2 days to paint this, I still had to go in and make sure that I'm not rushing the job and that I'm doing it right and being patient with it. Which, while challenging, I just kept in mind that this is going to a family, this is going to a kid, this is a gift. I gotta make sure it's as good as I can get it, and that's what really helped me get through this first step. Now, after I had everything finished to a point that I was very happy with, I let it dry overnight so I can tackle it with fresh eyes tomorrow and add the final details. Alright guys, so it's the next day, I have a clean shirt, I have a clean beanie, I'm ready to rock and roll and finish this project out. Luckily, I got a lot of the legwork done yesterday, so right now I'm just going to be doing the finishing touches. I need to make sure I get it to a point where not only does it look really good, but it also has time to dry, and I have to put a protective coat on it to ensure that it will last long for the kids. So let's not waste any more time and get into it. Getting into the finishing touches, there wasn't a lot that needed to be done in terms of paint. Just a couple cleanup, a little bit of detail adding, and just add a bit of more dimension and texture into the main. But the big thing was adding the varnish to everything. Now, the type of varnish that I have is rated for acrylics, but it's meant to be put on canvas. I double checked the instructions and I found that it does say it can work on wood, so after giving this piece plenty of time to dry, I applied the varnish off camera. It added a protective layer to everything, and I went with a satin varnish to have a slight shine to it. I figured a matte look wouldn't look right, and gloss would just make this thing look wet and sweaty. I really enjoyed working with this piece, and it was definitely a challenge, something I normally don't do, but I'm super thankful for the opportunity to work on this and give it to someone that will appreciate it, play with it, and hopefully enjoy it. Anyway, after I had everything done, it was time for the grand reveal. And we're done. And guys, this was a super fun project. I've never painted a wooden horse before. This was definitely a first, and I really enjoyed this entire process. This was a last minute addition. The final video that I was going to do for this year was the Christmas gift for my friend Sergio. So being able to fit one more gift in just made my day. I hope that the family that gets this, the kid that gets this, I hope they beat it up, because that tells me that they were playing with this, they were enjoying it, they were having fun, they were being a kid, and they were being creative, using their imagination. That's what I want. I want this thing to be beaten up and played with and loved. I've never made something for Toys for Tots, so this was a really fun adventure. Really enjoyed it, and please check out the Veterans Art Center. I have Toys for Tots and Veterans Art Center listed in the description, so go ahead and check them out, especially the Veterans Art Center. As someone who has two very close friends who are actively involved in the Air Force, as someone who grew up with grandparents that served in the military, this is an organization that is very close to my heart because I've seen the good these programs do firsthand and the positivity that they put out. And I've had the pleasure to know Major Mac for a few years now. He's a great guy, very passionate, and he is just such a good force for change. And this is an organization that I am personally involved with. I will be doing some inking courses with them. It's something that has been on my heart for a long time. It's an organization that I've gotten to know over the years and 100% support. So this was a fun video. Thank you all so much for watching. You guys have a great Christmas, great New Year's. I know I said it in the last video, but I'm gonna say it again. Thank you all so much from everyone here at Battle Brawl Production. We're so thankful for your support. We're so thankful that this is the season of giving and that we could give back and make a change. Again, both organizations are linked down below, so go ahead and check them out. And my name is J-Rod. I wish you all a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, all that fun jazz, Happy Holidays. Just keep being creative. That's all I ask.